Happy Tuesday here. I think it's Tuesday. My days are all messed up. Anyway, welcome to ATI Pro Media Premium. We're not premium either. This is ATI Pro Media powered by Advanced Trading, the regular show. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Got plenty of headlines here. Another flash sale. Got some CONAB data. Going to look at commitment of traders. Got some headlines on the macro market with geopolitical stuff, tariff type talk. We'll look at the cattle markets. Got a little green on the screen. We're going to jump into those board prices here real quick. Jump onto LaSalle Street, and then we'll bring Connor in and talk to the show. March corn's up a penny and a half, 478. Cruising higher. Good to see. March beans are up 5 1/4, 10.58. Soy oil is up. Meal is flat. Chicago wheat is up 4 3/4 to 5 cents, up a nickel, 5.49 3/4. KC wheat's up a nickel as well, 5.66. Feeder cattle, they're leaking weaker. March down 90 points. Live cattle leaking weaker as well, down 57. Hogs are firmer, up 47.5. Crude oil is giving back 70 cents. Diesel's down a penny and a half. Nat gas is down 6 cents. Your equity markets, the Dow is up 120, the S&P up 12, the NASDAQ up 45. Thank goodness the equities have been on life support here the last few weeks, trending lower. But good to see them green on the screen. Good to see the grain market holding as well. Let's bring in my guest, my co-host, Connor B. I opened the show, Connor, but it was a little rough.
You did great. You did great. Like you said, we think it's Tuesday. If not, don't correct us. Just let us keep rolling with it,
Just
right?
roll with it. Yeah. The last week, and then it has been busy, and then this week, starting off very similar tone. But yeah. Export flash, that's the big one. I thought it was deja vu. Joe Grisafi had the headline built. It's the same as yesterday's. 198,000 metric tons of beans sold to China again.
The exact same amount? 198,000?
Yes. Yeah.
That's amazing. I wonder how often, does that have to happen often more than we think, or is this kind of a fluke? Interesting to see, but good to see, right? I think I don't know if I equate it to that last little push when we look at export sales. We'll have to talk about that Thursday when we get that data out. But yeah, good to see.
Yep. Anytime squeaking those in before we transition over to buying beans from Brazil. But yeah, good to see those coming in. Is it ahead of the election, the inauguration, and all those little pieces there. But good to see them coming through. Yeah. What do we got next, Connor B?
Let's talk a little bit commitment of traders before we get to CONAB, right? We got the data out Monday. Usually that report comes out on Friday. It was delayed because of Jimmy Carter's National Day of Mourning. And so no surprises in the data. Guess what? Funds are bullish corn, right? We're seeing the biggest long position we've seen in the corn market since 2022, I believe. If you got that chart handy, Brady,
Let's pull
up.
it up here. Yeah. It's a little left on the left side of the screen. There's a little bitty red dot there. It's not a line yet. It's a dot so far with the first data.
I mean, just given I'm still blown away by the year we had, and that we have this bullish position that's getting up with years like 21, 22, right? Years in terms of grain marketing we want to go back to. So great to see, right? There's always the chatter when we see this big fund long or big fund short, is that hey, if the funds decide to go short, it can be some violent corrections. But look at previous years. There's no correlation to say, okay, just because they're so long, well, they got to get short now, right? We saw a fund long for almost 3.5 years from 2020 to 2023. So interesting to see on that corn market.
Yep, thanks, James. That pink line is 2024. So that's the pink line. And note kind of in the middle of that graph there, that's that midsummer when they were record short. And the funds pulled a heck of a move here. The best traders in the world, they covered that big short position amidst farmer selling while farmers were selling the bushels. And now they sit with a sizable long position. Question is, where's the farmer at with their position going forward while the funds are sitting long? And what's the fund's next move going to be? Is it to stay long? I think, it's bullish till it's not. But if they decide to hit the exits, what does that do to your prices? What does that do to your markets? Because if they're sitting long, Connor, the out of that trade is to sell their position, right?
Yep. Yep.
So,
So interesting to see. Soybeans, I mean, not even close to as bullish soybeans as they are on corn. And then especially if we look at that whole soy complex, right? Very
mhm.
bearish soy oil that we're seeing. What did you see in terms of cattle, Brady?
Yep. Good, glad you brought that up. Big net long on cattle side. This is looking at both feeder cattle and fat cattle combined position. That red dot on the left there, 169,000 net long combined. Just sizable, massive long there on the cattle side of things. Continue to add to that length. I believe it's a record on the feeder side. I don't know if it's quite a record on the fat cattle side of things. I'd have to go back and check some data, but they're long cattle. This cattle market's hot, Connor.
Yeah. So, well, good to see. Other data we had releases, we had Conab release their numbers. And so they didn't tell us anything dramatic, not especially compared to USDA Friday. Nothing, no big changes. They slightly decreased their corn production, slightly increased soybean production, right? If you could look at January, we're at a 166 with the USDA at 169, and then corn production at a 119 versus the USDA at 127. So no big increases, right? Which is very different from the rhetoric we were talking about, 3 weeks ago. Amazing how fast the weather can change. Where it was, how far north of a 170 soybean production number can we go? Well, now, we've still got a ways to go, right? They've just started harvesting. We can see how good that crop is, but right now it feels like we've got the steam out a little bit. The one thing I will draw your attention to is that when we look at, just year on year change in terms of soybean production, we're up 13, even given current numbers, right? Up 13% year on year in terms of soybean production. So, maybe that big, huge record soybean production number, it feels further away than it did a couple weeks ago. We're still
Mhm.
talking big bushels down there.
Just not, not as big, I guess. So, yeah, good stuff, Connor B. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Should we talk? You're talking about being thrown off for Tuesday. I think we could blame the cold weather if you want to, Brady. Talk about we're going to see some frigid temperatures in the U.S.
I'm not ready for it, Connor. January's been winter. I think I heard a stat that's one of the coldest I can't remember the exact stat, but it's been a cold January so far, first of the year. We got the Barney Blast coming. I saw this on Twitter this morning.
Barney Blast.
The Barney Blast. Lots of purple on that map there. Frigid cold. We're talking zeros here in Southwest Kansas, so into the weekend, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. And as that creeps further south, that's not good for things. They're not built for that type of cold. I know I'm not built for that type of cold, Connor. And we got calves that are hitting the ground this time of year,
man.
which is just, I don't know why we do it, but that's what we get.
For the love of the game, right?
Yeah, I guess so.
Well,
But,
I got a few more weather charts for you going
okay.
down south, right? Looking at South America, the first one and the one that gets the most chatter is going to be that dryness in southern Brazil and in Argentina. Okay, they've started to add some rains. I think about 5-10 days out. It's not. I mean, we're still looking at drier than normal in that southern part of Brazil and parts of Argentina. But even if the rains come, the question is it too little, too late? Right? That's the chatter. Is the damage already done? Especially when we're looking at Argentina. The other one I have, right, this is kind of looking forward. Dr. Cruz put this in front of us, is that we're seeing, look at the tale of two cities there, where northern parts of Brazil have got a lot of precipitation. They continue to look like they're going to get a wet to slightly wet forecast, right? And so when we're looking at Brazil, right, they've started harvesting just a little bit. That we've seen parts of Mato Grosso harvesting soybeans. We've seen them, they're going to start planting that safrinha corn crop as soon as they can. And, any type of delay that they get, right? 3 months ago, we talked about if we saw delay in the soybean planting, well, then we're going to see a delay in that second corn crop. Now, if we have some significantly wet, a wet forecast where it continues to delay that, right? That doesn't bode well for that safrinha corn crop. They very much hit a wall when it comes to precipitation, right? They have a dry period. And so that'll be the next headline. How fast and how good does that safrinha corn crop go in the ground? And that's probably, that could be our next story when we're looking at this corn market.
Yeah, something to keep your eye on for sure as that unfolds there. Always, we're very much, in South America, it is July down there, right? It's the middle of summer,
Right.
harder production. Getting that bean crop out is very, very important in Mato Grosso, and getting that safrinha corn off to a good start. That's a huge piece of their production going forward. It's definitely something to keep your eye on. But it's that headline driven, changing by the minute, by the moment. And they I think believe they have a similar ability as a U.S. farmer to get the crop in very quickly, like we do up here. I don't know.
Absolutely right. What did I said for 24? Right, we're not going to get super bullish in terms of planting delays. Right, we saw it in 24, or we saw it in the U.S. Right, and then we saw it with Brazil as well. So we'll keep that in mind. But yeah, it'll be interesting going forward. Right, we're going to start talking about that safrinha corn crop more and more as time goes on here really quickly.
Hey, all right, you talked about it yesterday. A couple more things on the radar. Headlines that I saw. Two headlines here. One, geopolitical stuff. Israel Hamas ceasefire agreement type of stuff, a little bit on the table. Trump also, there was some comments and articles about meeting with Putin very quickly after his inauguration. Then you've got the tariff headlines as well there of, how quickly will he implement tariffs? I've seen some stuff out there that maybe is more gradual, and some scaled in type of approaches where the tariff increases month by month, versus just a wham 60% tariffs on January 21st when he signs it in. So going to be interesting with that South America production and then all the geopolitical stuff, as that begins next week, next Monday, how it all unfolds going forward here, Connor.
Yeah. So it's going to be a ride.
It will be. Buckle up, buddy. Okay, you did premium yesterday. What'd you do on premium? Let's talk about that a little bit.
It's a good one. I did how to go bankrupt playing spreads, right? It's a question everyone wants answered, right? How do I go bankrupt with my marketing plan? So a little bit tongue in cheek, but when it was mostly Fridays when I see these big old crop rallies, and we don't see the new crop quite as much, right? When we're talking inverted markets, there's certain things I think that we should avoid, right? And I see it pop up time and time again, right? When we try and get a little funky with spreads, and I think when we're talking about rolling through inverses, when we're looking at these spreads, there's only one rule, Brady. There are no rules, and so it was just a warning video of what things that I would avoid like the plague.
I like it. I listened to it. Is a good one, and I'm glad you put it on there. I love the title, by the way, and it makes me think of. I got a soundbite for it, Connor B. Get ready for it.
Here we go.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you put that on us. Don't you put that evil on me.
I feel that's fitting. If you're going to talk about how to go bankrupt playing the spreads, we don't want that evil put on us, Connor B. We don't want that evil put on us.
No, absolutely not. So, well, good stuff. What else we got? Should we answer a few questions?
Let's dive into some questions here. Yeah, and then let's get out of here.
Okay. For those of us still working on pricing some old crop, at what point does selling a little new crop start to look attractive? So when do we start selling some new crop? I think that's what he's asking, right?
Okay. What do you got here, Connor?
I mean, right, when we're looking at the new crop, the thing to keep in mind is you're 100% long, right? You own 100% of the crop. So absolutely, I think you should look at, taking some risks off the table. Right now, we got these futures at 459, right? I like those levels, right? We're risk managers. So I think we should have the call on top of that in case this thing really gets crazy. But I don't know. What do you think, Brady? I like the 459 level if it's the first sale.
Yeah, you got rewardable rallies, and if you're buying inputs, if you're pricing in that cost of production, you're getting inputs covered, you're making plans to produce that crop. You got to manage the output side of things, and just having a floor underneath you, having some protection, downside protection. We want to be bullish, but let's use a strategy that lets you ride that bull market if we get it. That's my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, and the other takeaway I think with us is that, hey, so if we're talking about making sales for new crop, great, it's important. How much are we selling? Right? Is it the first 5%, 10%, 15%?
Yeah.
And so let's not ignore the other 85% that we have unsold, right? Make sure, what are we doing to protect that risk? Because, it's January 14th. Crop insurance is not doing anything for us. And so, I think that's what us at Advanced Trading, right, we really try and focus on as well. Let's make sure we're looking at, kind of the entire portfolio, I guess
Yeah.
I'd say, and keep
Big
that in mind as
picture.
well. Yep.
Broad, well said. Good call out. We've all got that sale where we can say, I sold $12 beans. I sold 1,000 bushels, 5% at $12. Well, what'd you do with the other 85%? That's a good call out. Good stuff.
Yep.
All right. On the cat, Daniel, another great question. Any risk you see on the cattle side with inauguration day next week? Not specifically, just the fact that the funds are really long. The market's hot. It's very bullish. The market's bullish until it's not. We got a cattle on feed report next Friday. Then we've got the big January inventory report. This is an annual inventory report. We didn't get that report in July. It'll be interesting to see where they pencil the beef cow herd at with their data, whether you believe it or not. But I mean, cattle still have that fundamental story. It's just the black swan and the consumer side of things of how long can the consumer pay for, how long can they what's their appetite for high priced beef? So I love beef, so I'm going to eat as much as I can. It may not be as many ribeyes as I want to eat. I love a good ribeye. I want to eat a ribeye every day of the week, but Connor, I got to grow my business if I'm going to eat ribeyes every day of the week, Connor.
I like it. What else we got? Dylan, has land values began to drop yet? What's the most recent land sale? I haven't heard one just locally. I was going to shoot a number at you, but I can't think of one. To my knowledge, not really. What do you think, Brady?
I don't know. There may be less people out there shopping around in this environment with the interest rates where they're at, but I think people are very comfortable with a long-term land investment if they can do it. I don't know. We need more tools in place for young farmers to be able to get involved and grow their business and taking advantage of those types of programs. So hopefully they're still able to go out there and stay aggressive with growing their operations. But I don't think it's softened up as much as maybe off of the euphoric highs potentially. But I don't know. I'm not an expert in that space, Connor.
I think that's a good way to say it, right? Off the big numbers, maybe we're not hearing them as much.
Yeah.
But that could change, right? If 2025, not predicting the future, but that's the thing with land values. If we see farming get a little bit more profitable, right, that it's not a reason for land values to go down. I'll say that.
Yeah. It seems like in the space of ag, you may not be making money on cattle or corn every year, but in your farming career, the equity and wealth you build by building your business and investing in land is one of the biggest growth areas you can have and one of the biggest blessings in agriculture.
Absolutely.
Oh, good questions. I love the engagement in the commentary. A couple new guys there chiming in. Thanks for joining us. Shoot us a message if you're interested in premium content. Send us a text down below there. We'll visit with you about that as well too. Connor Bean.
Yep. So, okay. Well, good stuff. Anything else before we go, Brady?
Let's get on with it. All right. Have a good day, y'all. Good to see you, Connor.
Yep.
See you tomorrow.